All right, so today for pre-algebra, we'll be continuing on, and this will actually be our last day of two-step equations. The only new thing that we have today is these two-step equations are going to include some decimals. So quick intro, we're going to be using the same method of solving equations as we did in one-step equations. We still use opposite operations, and our goal is still to get the variable alone on one side of the equation and then determine what that value is of the variable. And our variable is usually the letter x. So it's the same stuff we have been doing, except today we are including some decimals. All right, so our first example, we are going to be solving for x. We need to try and figure out what x equals. And we need to remember our goal is to try and get x alone on one side of the equation. So we're going to start off like we did yesterday by drawing the line down the equal sign. And today I'm going to let you guys use a calculator. So if you have a calculator at home or if you have a calculator on your phone, you can use that to solve the decimals today. So our goal is trying to get x alone. So our equation says 0.4x plus 2.9 equals 1.5. First thing we're going to look at is this 0.4x plus 2.9. We want to undo that 0.29 or that plus 2.9. So what is the opposite of plus 0.9? The opposite of plus 2.9 would be to subtract 2.9 from both sides. So we're going to subtract 2.9 from both sides. So what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So minus 2.9. And then these cancel each other out. And then we're left with 0.4x equals whatever 1.5 minus 2.9 is. So this is when you guys can use your calculators today. So you type in 1.5 minus 2.9 equals negative 1.4. So we'll put negative 1.4. And now our equation says 0.4x equals negative 1.4. We need to try and get x alone on one side. And right now, this 0.4 times x, it's attached to it. So we need to get rid of this 0.4. Right now, it's multiplying 0.4 multiplied by x. So how are we going to undo the multiplication of 0.4? Well, the opposite of multiplication is division. So we will divide both sides by 0.4 because that will cancel this out. Left with just x. We have to divide this side by 0.4 because what we do to one side, we have to do to the other. Now we can use our calculator again because x is going to equal whatever negative 1.4 divided by 0.4 is. So let's type in negative 1. Oops, we need to put the negative. So negative 1.4 divided by 0.4 equals negative 3.5. So that will be our answer, negative 3.5. So x would equal negative, we can put a 3, then you would type your dot or decimal 5. X would equal negative 3.5. So as you can see, we're still doing the same process as we did yesterday, except today we have decimal points. That's the only difference. Erase that, and we will try one more problem here, or a couple more. So solve for x again. We're still trying to get x alone on the left-hand side. So we'll draw our line down our equal sign. And now our equation says x divided by 2.2 minus 0.1 equals 7.4. That's a whole lot of stuff. But we want to try and get x alone. So we're going to take a look at this left-hand side of the equation first. The first thing that we are going to do, I see here that this is grouped together. This is x divided by 2.2. So the first thing I want to do is I want to try and get this alone. So I'm going to add, or the opposite of 0.1, because the opposite of minus 0.1 would be to add 0.1. So we'll add 0.1 to both sides. Those cancel each other out. And then we're left with x over 2.2 equals 7.4 plus 0.1. We don't need the calculator for that one. That's just 7.5. So we're adding one more 0.1 onto it. So x divided by 2.2 equals 7.5 is our new equation. Is x alone on one side of the equation yet? No, it's not. X divided by 2.2. This 2.2 is still connected to the x with division. So what is the opposite of division? We'll use the opposite of division to get this x by itself. So what is the opposite of dividing by 2.2? The opposite would be to multiply by 2.2. So we will multiply both sides of the equation by 2.2. That's pretty small, I'm sorry about that. So multiply both sides by 2.2. Do these cancel each other out? Does dividing by 2.2 and multiplying by 2.2 cancel it out? It does. Those cancel each other out. And now we're left with just x on this side. X equals 7.5 times 2.2. You can use your calculators for this today. So clear it, 7.5 times 2.2 equals 16.5. So x would equal 16.5. And now our last practice problem for the day, and then you will have 4 problems to do by yourself on your homework. So it's only 4 questions, not a whole lot. So we're still trying to solve for x. We're still trying to get x alone on one side of the equation. So we got x plus 11.7 divided by 0.5 equals negative 10.6. We need to try and get x alone. And right now, what is happening over here is this x plus 11.7, that whole equation, x plus 11.7, all of it's being divided by 0.5. And that is a lot to do. So we want to get rid of this division. So we're left with just x plus 11.7. So if we wanted to get rid of or undo the dividing by 0.5, we would multiply both sides by 0.5. Because that will undo it. So we'll multiply both sides by 0.5. Do these cancel each other out now? Yes, they do. So then we're left with x plus 11.7 on that side of the equation and equals whatever negative 10.6 times 0.5 is. Plug it into your calculators, negative 10.6 times 0.5 equals negative 5.3. So that's when you guys can use your calculators. And now our equation says x plus 11.7 equals negative 5.3. Are we done with this equation yet? No, we are not. Why are we not done with the equation? Because x is not alone on one side. We still have this plus 11.7 attached to it. So how will we get rid of this plus 11.7, or how will we undo it? We'll undo the plus 11.7 by subtracting 11.7 from both sides. So we will subtract 11.7 from both sides. Positive 11.7 minus 11.7, those cancel each other out, or it equals 0. So then we're left with just x. And x equals negative 5.3 minus 11.7 minus 1.7 equals negative 17. So x would equal negative 17 in this equation. So that's how you guys will be doing this. It's the same method as we did yesterday. It's the two-step equations. You're using the inverse or opposite operations to undo stuff. The only difference in today's lesson was the decimal points. But that's why I'm letting you guys use a calculator today, so you can use a calculator to do your calculations. And then you'll have 4 problems to do by yourself, which will be posted on Schoology. So complete those 4 questions after you watch this Edpuzzle, and that's all there is to do for Thursday. And then check back tomorrow, Friday, and we will have an assignment on 1- and 2-step equations.